Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Chakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazak Bob with the GMS Nebraska camp. And in this lesson, what I want to get into is based off of this verse here in Luke chapter 17, verse 32, where Yahushai said, remember Lot's wife. And there's a reason why Yahushai, brought up Lot's wife and why we're supposed to remember her. Because the fault that Lot's wife made is very relevant to what we're going through today, because we don't want to follow in her stead and make the same mistake that she made. Now, what was the mistake that she made? Well, it was the Lord's determination to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. But that was Lot's wife's home, and this is, she was probably born and raised there. She probably, she had family there. She had memories. She had a life that she created there. And when it was time to leave it behind, to go forward unto the Lord's will, she wasn't able to, because she had too much of an attachment to the life that she had built. And this is something that we have to make sure that we don't follow after in this truth, because what we have to understand is that on our path to salvation, a major part of it is sacrificing this life that we have built on this side. Because the same way that the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, the Lord is about to destroy America. And everything that we know, love, have loved, have grown an attachment to, we're not going to take any of that on a chariot with us. The only things that's going to come in a chariot with us is is ourselves and Lord willing, our families. And that may not be the case for each and every one of us. So we have to, separate our affections from this world, and before we get this Luke 17, we're going to grab Colossians chapter 3, verse 1, which says, if ye then be risen with Hamashiach, seek those things which are above, where Hamashiach sitteth on the right hand of the Most High. So in this truth, we have to make sure that we are setting our affections and our hopes toward the kingdom of heaven and looking forward toward the future. We're supposed to become attached to the hope of the kingdom. We're supposed to become attached to, these prophecies that we read of, the kingdom of Israel, a kingdom with peace, a kingdom where we're ruling. That's what we're supposed to build an attachment to, because when we do that, now we are looking forward to it and living for it, and this world has less of a grasp on us. And that's why the scriptures say, set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. When we set our affection upon something, it's something that we have a fond care about, or we feel very deeply about it. And what we're supposed to be training ourselves to do in this truth is to kill our affections toward this world. Yeah, we got memories, we got family, we got, all type of things that we have on this side, but it's not of the Lord's will. Like it says, love not the world. Let's get that real fast. In 1 John chapter 2, verse 15, which says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Because we have to understand, the things that we may love on this side, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai don't love it. And we need to seek the things that are pleasing to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. So yeah, we may, have had a deep care about our family, but our family don't want to see, you got a lot of our family that don't want to see the kingdom of Israel come. You got a lot of our family that want America to continue to go on. A lot of our family is going to get the chip and bow the knee to Esau. or it may be that, you know, we may have to fight demons about certain things that we have to sacrifice or leaving things behind, on this side. But again, we have to understand, for us to get to where we're trying to go, which is that continuing city that we're looking forward to, all of this on this side needs to be wiped away, you know? So let's read on. It says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the eyes, Salakia, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Right? All these things that we have an affection to, what is the name? The lust of the flesh. So the things that feel good to us, the things that feel good to these carnal bodies, whether it's, the food here, or it could be, shows we like, these are low level examples, but it could be, whatever the case may be, whatever gets us going, or the lust of the eyes, right? The things that we want, the things that we see other people having, and we're like, man, that'd be nice to have that. Whether it's a house or a car or a big family or whatever the case may be, a successful whatever. It says what? The pride of life. The things that we would be proud of having on this side, the things that we wish that we had, that the Lord hasn't allowed us to have on this side. All those things that we look forward to, if it's of this world, we need to let go of it. Because in the kingdom, we going to have everything that we need. All the things that we want in righteousness. We going to have it in the kingdom. But this flesh only knows what it feels, what it can sense, what's right in front of it. So we look at the things in this world, and it's all we've experienced, and we can make the mistake of, only having our mind set upon that. But again, like it said in Colossians chapter 3, we have to set our affections on things above. We have to look forward to the future. And it takes faith to do that. And like the scriptures say, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So while we haven't seen the kingdom yet, while we don't know all the beautiful things that's going to be granted unto us, all the pleasures that's going to be granted unto us, we have to go off of what the scriptures have given us. And what the scriptures has told us that we're about to get in the kingdom is enough. Okay, we may not have a big family on this side, but the scriptures say we're going to have hundreds of children in the kingdom, hundreds of wives. Okay, we may not, have been able to go down the career path that we were looking forward to before we came into this truth, but we're going to have many riches in the kingdom. We're going to feel truly fulfilled. Our spirit is going to feel truly, at peace with the life that we have. Because on this side, no matter how much we have, it's always going to feel like it's not enough, because it's not. All the things that this life can grant us here in Esau's kingdom is empty. And it's like the scriptures say here in verse 17, it says, "And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever." So all the things that we could go after in this world, at the end of the day, it's pointless, because it's all going to be destroyed anyway. So knowing that, why would we feed into it? Why would we, why would we let our affections get more focused on the things of this world versus the kingdom? Now, as we build up our minds with this mindset, this is going to be the things that allows us to make it, unto salvation, being able to let go of this world and not being too attached. Because there's going to be a lot of people who know that you're not supposed to take the MOTB, that know the truth, that know the prophecies, that's still going to end up taking it. Why? Because they're not going to be able to let go of this life. Because as it says in Revelation chapter 13, verse 15, it says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." Now, like I always make mention, that killing is, in some cases we'll be talking about an actual death. And the faith that we have is going to allow us to be able to get even past these, these mortal bodies that we're in being put to death, because we understand that the end of this life isn't the end. We understand that the Lord will raise us back up, and we'll be in the kingdom in new bodies, So our faith allows us to look past that, to where some people might be, might not be able to look past the fact that, okay, Esau is talking about putting me to death. I need to preserve my life. Well, no, we're not going to be in that mindset of self-preservation, because we already understand the Lord's will, that we'll be raised up again. But my point that I wanted to get from this is not only that aspect that it says those who should not worship the image of the beast should be killed. When you go into that word killed and you get into the root of the Greek of it, it's Strong's G575 apo, which is of separation. So what it's saying is that those who should not worship the image of the beast should be separated from what? Separated from society. And how is that? Well, we understand that with the MOTB, like it says in Revelation, you won't be able to buy or sell, right? But this system of the New World Order is not just going to be about buying and selling. Everything is going to be surrounded around the mark of the beast, which is that RFID chip. Everything, whether it's going to the store, whether it's getting a car, whether it's paying your bills, going to the doctor, going to school, anything, getting a phone, or being able to contact other people, whatever the case may be, everything is going to be centered around that chip. And for those who aren't ready to give up all those things that we have been used to within this life, for those who aren't ready to be separated, they won't be able to deny this New World Order that we're going into. So they won't be in the mindset to be okay with that killing that Esau is going to inflict upon those who don't worship the image of the beast. But as it says in Colossians that we was just reading, it says what? If ye then be risen with Hamashiach, seek those things which are above, where Hamashiach sits on the right hand of the Most High. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth, for ye are dead, and your life is hid with Hamashiach in the Most High. So spiritually, we have already separated ourselves from this life. We just haven't done the physical aspects of it, such as, throwing our phones away, or not having a job, or living off the grid, or whatever the case may be. But we're already mentally preparing ourselves to let go of these things. So when the time comes where everybody that we once knew, family, friends, whoever the case may be, they're all on this new system, and we have to be the outcast, that's not going to be, a terrible thing for us to go through, because we understand that we are dead to this world. And it says and your life is hid with Hamashiach in the Most High. What the scriptures say here, we have no. Let's get it. Hebrews 13:14, which says, for here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. So we understand that this world isn't for us. We're waiting for the world to come after this world. We're waiting for our kingdom to come after Esau's fall. So what if our life has to be ended on this side? Whether that's literal death, or having to let go of all these things that we've become used to, whatever the case may be, we need to place all our affections, all our cares, all our hopes into the world to come, because that's truly what matters. That's truly what's going to last. That's what's going to be eternal. That is what is going to matter. Everything on this side is going to pass away anyway. And so that's why Yahushua said, remember Lot's wife. Because when the time came to drop everything and let go and go on to where Yahweh, to where the Most High Yahweh was leading Lot and his wife, she wasn't able to go forward into the Lord's will. And we don't want to follow after that example. Let's go back to Matthew, or not Matthew. What was it? Luke 17. We'll start at verse 28, where it says, likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. So what it's saying is that people was living life as normal. People were going about their days. They were, building their lives up. They had, they things going. Just like we have all our things going. We got jobs, we got families, we got, things that we're into. We have our hobbies. We have all these different things, and day by day, we're living these things out. But there's going to come a time where it's all going to be wiped away, as it was in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. Because like it says, but the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. So what this is saying is that this daily routine that we become accustomed to, and things that become commonplace and regular to us, this is going to get shook up at a certain point, and we can't be, all bewildered when these things get shook up, because we know what the prophecy says. We know what Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has in store for this world, so we need to be prepared. Again, all this truth, we don't know this truth for no reason. This truth is so that we have stability and we have faith when the evils come, so that when the Lord comes like a thief in the night, we're not caught off guard. It says even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. So it's saying the same way it was in the time of Lot, that's how it's going to be in this time. When these prophecies start to pop off, it's going to happen in the midst. Life is just going to be lifing and going on, and then boom, things are just going to be popping off. And eventually the Lord is going to come back, and it's not going to be on anybody else's timing but the Most High's timing. People are going to be chilling, living their lives, doing what they're doing. And then the Lord is going to come back. And it says, in that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. And when I say people are going to be chilling, what I mean is, because the Lord is going to return in a very high time of calamity. What I mean when I say people are going to be chilling, I mean people aren't going to be in the mindset of the whole world being flipped upside down, of Esau's rule being uprooted. People aren't going to be in that mindset. They're going to be in a mindset of expecting things to continue the way that they are. So what it's saying here when it says, in that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. What that's saying is we gonna have to move on from stuff. We ain't gonna have time to, and this isn't literal, this is figurative. But imagine you have to get up and go, and you don't have time to grab all your essentials or all the things that mean something to you. You just got to grab a couple important things and leave. You got to grab enough that you can fit in your pocket and go. You can't pack a bag, and you have to do that within, a minute's time, or you're going to be caught up in whatever danger is coming. Well, spiritually, it's the same thing. We ain't going to have time to, be worried about all the affections that we have on this side. And we have to keep in mind what we have an affection for in this world right now. And ask ourselves, if it was of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's will, would I be able to let go of this if the Most High wanted me to? That's why the scriptures say in 2nd Esdras, it says, let's grab that real fast. Let me see. Or I'll put in Soweth. All right, 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 40. It says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. So that's the thing. We're either going to be as pilgrims upon this earth, where we're ready to get up and go, where we're not having this place and having it in our mind as this is our permanent dwelling place. We're either going to be as those pilgrims, or we're going to be as Lot's wife. And this is the mindset of the pilgrims. It says, he that selleth, let him be as one, let him be, Salakia, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he shall not reap, so also he that planted the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. So what it's saying is that we have our lives, we have the things that we're doing at this very moment, but we have to understand that we're not going to take these things with us. So these jobs that we have to keep in mind, I ain't gonna have this job forever. And let's get to something more gritty. The kids that we have, we may not be able to take them on a chariot with us. So you can put that there, he that has children as he that shall not, or whatever the case may be, whatever means something to us on this side, that those who won't be able to sacrifice to make it onto a chariot because of their children or because of their wives or because of whatever the case may be, those are going to be those who was too focused on the pride of life. Like it says in that first John we read, and it said what? If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So we have to understand that these things we have to love less than the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Set our affection upon the hope that we have. So let's get more attached to our faith in the future and the kingdom than we are attached to the things on this side, because that's what's going to get us through. That's what's going to allow us to be able to sacrifice and lose and go forward. So let's read this last verse here in Luke 17, and then we'll close the lesson. It says, whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. So if we trying to keep everything that we have on this side, then we're going to miss out on salvation. Because we're focused on the wrong life. Again, nothing that we have on this side we're going to be able to take into a chariot with us. So hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Charkwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS, and salutation unto the